This is such a pretty makeup look. I feel so pretty right now. Super random. Anyway, hi. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we hit 1 million subscribers on this channel. How? How? It's so crazy. This is a Q&A video. Like, I wanted to, because I just feel like it's been a minute, but I just kind of felt like I needed to address the fact that we actually hit 1 million subscribers. It's like pretty strange. This is weird, dude. I'll be real with you. I think what's so weird about it, before we get into the Q&A, I never wanted to do YouTube. Like, that was never anything that I wanted to do. I started out by posting like makeup looks on Instagram, and I really liked that like artistic aspect of it, where it was just like a portfolio, and I was like sitting there by myself and like doing my makeup and experimenting, and then just like putting it on the internet and seeing what people thought. People just kept on asking me to do YouTube, and I was like, oh, it makes me really uncomfortable. I don't want to be on camera without makeup on. And like, I don't know, like, what am I gonna be telling? What am I gonna do? What is it gonna be? And I mean, like, here we are, like 6+ years late. I don't even remember when I started. It was like super on and off. And then somehow we got here. When I hit 100,000, I was like, that's it. I did it. I got my 100,000 plaque, and I was like, I did it. 1 million people subscribed to this channel. Why? Literally why? If you look at my last 2 videos, actually, I don't know when this one's going up, but if you look at my last like few videos, or at least like 2 in a row, they did so badly. It was really funny, actually. I hit 1 million subscribers, and my like 2 videos that I uploaded like around that time did like 20,000 views, which is like terrible if you don't know like back-end YouTube bullshit. 20,000 seems like a lot, but like in terms of like having 1 million subscribers and all that stuff, it's like not very good. So I was like, so fitting, you know? Anyway, you know that I'm not good at the like emotional things, taking compliments, all those things. But I will say now, I kind of understand why there's all those like YouTubers out there who like start crying in front of the camera, and they're like, you really mean so much to me. It's fucking true. And that's it. It's fucking true. It's like really wild when I like, I'm at UPS and someone's like, I love your YouTube channel. And I'm like, what? It's fucking wild. So thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate it. That's it. Ready, everybody? There's a voice note.
Hey, I didn't realize that Instagram DMs send right after you let go, so let me retry that. My name is Holly. I'm from Canada. I don't have any questions for you. I just think you're really cool and fun and hilarious, and congratulations on 1 million. You deserve it. Like, you're the best. Okay, bye.
Holly, you know I don't take those compliments well. Thank you, though. That was really sweet. That was a good way to start it off. This person sent a picture of their cat. Oh, their cat's so cute. She looks like Boo, but like a little darker. Look how cute. Love. This person said, did you always know that you wanted to work in makeup? Can you tell us about the pathway you took to get where you are today? Absolutely love your videos. Thank you. Hi, Elvira. That's her cat. So no, I didn't at all. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. So I think a lot of you know that I went to school for painting. I was always drawing faces. Like, that was what I did my whole life. Like, from the minute that I was drawing like portraits, especially of like beautiful women in magazines. It was like my favorite, or like celebrities. So I was always drawing faces, and both of my parents are artists, so I just kind of assumed like that's the path, you know? But it's also what I loved. And when I got to college, it's a long story. I applied to 2 colleges. I applied to my state school, my like hometown state school, and I applied to Pratt in New York. And I got into both, but Pratt was very expensive, and I had shit grades because I didn't give a fuck. So I couldn't get scholarships to go to Pratt, and so I couldn't afford it. So I ended up going to my state school, and while I was there, it was kind of like, Is this a blessing? Like, do I really want to pursue art? It's really fucking difficult. Do I want to get like a more realistic degree or whatever the fuck? And I kind of like, I messed around with like a few different things. Like psychology seemed interesting. I took a psych class and that was really cool. And like, I was just like, I don't know what to do. I took a business class and I was fucking horrible at it. And it just kind of ended up being like, this is like, art is what you're good at. So I ended up getting my BFA in painting. And that helped me. And my original plan when I was in college, I was kind of like, what can I do so that I'm like always creating? And I was always like, I enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed that relationship so much. Like I loved going into the studio and painting and just the relationship that I had with my professors, because like when you're in college, especially when you're in an art program, there is no faking whether or not you're doing the work, you know? It shows, it's on the canvas. So I love the freedom. I could often like leave classes early if I, you know, finished things and, or I could work on other things. Like, I did that a lot. So like, I love that relationship. So I thought like, I'll be a professor. I'll be an art professor. I'll get my master's and, that's what I'm going to do. And truthfully, that still sounds so attractive to me just because like I miss that environment. And then when I got out, long story, such a long, ridiculous story. Fast forwarding a little bit, I ended up having to get a job, a full-time job, and my art degree helped me get a job at my local newspaper. So I was working as a graphic designer for them, essentially because they were so desperate and they were like, we can teach her, but she's got at least an art background. I knew nothing about graphic design. And that helped me to get the next job that I got when I moved out to LA, where I was kind of working in like cosmetic manufacturing, but as like a social media / like graphic designers. Like I was doing a bunch of random shit. And all while I was doing those jobs, I was becoming more and more interested. Wow, I missed a step. When I was in college, at the end of college, I became super interested in makeup. And mostly just for me. Like I was just like smoky eye, cat eye, you know what I mean? Like into like getting into contouring. And I would get up so early in the morning to like do my makeup before school. And then when I got out of college, I became even more interested in it, like seeing really creative stuff. I've talked about this before, but Linda Hallberg, I was seeing her on Pinterest and all her like really creative stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So all the while, I was just kind of like experimenting with makeup and putting it on Instagram. I think I can't remember what year I started Instagram. It was late though, maybe like 2013, 14 or something. I ended up moving to LA in 2015. So I was kind of like working on that stuff. Before I moved to LA, I think I had like maybe 15,000 followers on Instagram. And this was back when like, if Anastasia Beverly Hills like reposted one of your photos, you blew the fuck up. Like all of a sudden, all these people were like commenting on your stuff and following you and liking all of your pictures. It was crazy. That like doesn't really happen anymore. Maybe it does, but not really for me. Anyway, I was like one of the big inspirations for Pat McGrath when she was launching her brand, or when she was working on her brand, when she first started her Instagram and she was like posting inspo pics. She was reposting a lot of my like close-up eye images. Obviously you guys know that I ended up like working with them for a while. So things were just kind of like moving in that direction. And then when I got to LA, I was just like, oh, this is like a job that people do. Like I had no idea. And then, yeah, I was just like, I had a presence on Instagram and people really liked my stuff. And then people were asking me to do YouTube, like I said at the beginning. And I was like, fine, I guess I'll do it, even though it made me so uncomfortable. And I was very on and off. And my like primary thing was Instagram for a while, just kind of collaborating with brands and being like creative and playing with my makeup. And now YouTube is my primary thing. And here we fucking are at 1 million subscribers. What the fuck? So no, I didn't always know that I was going to be doing makeup. I assumed I would be painting. I assumed I would be like, in a fucking studio somewhere, just creating art. And what's kind of funny is that like, I essentially am, you know, my canvas is a little bit different. I'm not exactly like selling the canvas to people. But I also kind of am, I guess. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. So no, it wasn't. But now looking back at like the fact that I was always drawing faces, I loved beauty. I loved drawing out of fashion magazines. Totally fucking makes sense, you know? What do you think about the sustainability of being a social media influencer? And how long do you see yourself doing this? That's a great fucking question, dude. I don't plan ahead, which is so weird because like my week, I need to know what we're doing Wednesday or else I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? I need the details. I need to know where it's going to be, what time it's going to be, what should I wear? Is there going to be food involved? But in terms of like my future, no fucking idea. My agency is always like, so what does your year look like? And I'm like, you tell me, I have no idea. Sustainability, I mean, fucking like, I don't know. I think there's like the biggest concern for every social media person who like has a job on social media is like relevance, I think. And like, don't get me wrong, no matter how many subscribers you have, no matter how many views you're getting at one point in time, it's always like literally at one point, people are gonna stop watching me and I'm gonna be fucked, you know? I think most people go on to like do something more with what they have built, with the audience that they've built, whether it's creating a brand or I don't know, something along those lines, I guess. Usually create something like outside of social media. And I think I'm kind of at that point where I'm interested in doing that kind of thing. I just don't really know what it is. I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about art. I obviously love makeup. But yeah, I mean, being a social media influencer forever, I don't think is sustainable. So yeah, it totally freaks me out. Zyra, thanks so much for asking. I don't know, I'm not gonna sleep tonight because of that question. Thank you so much. Just kidding, but like, I'm also not. If you had to travel light and only bring a 4-color eyeshadow palette for a whole trip, which colors would you want? So boring. I would want a color like this. Honestly, everything that I'm wearing is like pretty dope. Oh, that's the blush palette. Well, it depends. Like, does my contour palette count? Like, can I bring this too? Because I would need a color like this. My contour color. Ooh, it depends on what's the vacation? What's the trip? I would love like a matte teal color for a pop. Because then I can do that all over my eyes and then just do mascara and that would be dope. I would need some kind of a neutral, like my contour color, maybe a slightly darker brown to build it up a bit. Yeah, this is all very situational, so I need to know like where we're going. But also I've been like wanting to dip back into like blood red because that like teal all over my eyes, love that like blue aqua teal, whatever you want to call it. But I also really like it for like a pop in the inner corner or doing like a blood red all over my eyes. I love that. And then those would be like 2 like statement looks. And then I could do the neutrals for like every day or whatever. That's what I would do right now, given like what I know right now. Where am I from? I'm from a small town in New Hampshire. I can't really think of like anything else that I could update you guys on. I didn't really paint until college. I did a little bit of painting in high school, like just like, oh, we're doing this, but it was so bad. I remember my first time painting with oils was just like garbage. This person says, you barely have dark circles anymore. Is it really just not eating carbs and sugar? Fine. Oh, interesting. Finally, it seems like you have been extra chill with what people may perceive as imperfections. What has contributed to this? Thank you, Rachel. This is so interesting. Okay, so first, about the dark circles. I did a video like a while back about how like, what did I call it? I can't remember. But it was basically about like how I noticed a big difference when I cut out refined sugar and just like essentially processed foods in general. That would also include things like bread and pasta though, that I noticed a huge difference in my dark circles. Like they looked so much brighter. And you know, I have hereditary dark circles, I have darkness, I have deep set eyes. I'm always gonna have some darkness there, but they just look so much better. Like they look so much healthier. And yeah, I would equate it to basically like cutting out sugar and processed foods. I would say that when I'm not saying that these things are bad, like I love pasta, okay? When we go out to dinner, I'm getting the pasta. I'll indulge, if we go to a French restaurant, man, I'm getting the charcuterie board. I'm getting the fancy breads, all right? I really try not to eat sugar, although I was drunk at a friend's house the other day and I ate like 4, maybe like 3 huge cookies. That was really bad. But yeah, I really try not to eat sugar. And when I don't eat those things, my face just looks brighter. And I notice when I do eat those things, I wake up the next morning feeling super groggy. It's hard to get out of bed. I look in the mirror and my dark circles are just like, bam, you know? Even if I like slept the night through. So that is something I've noticed. I did talk to some people, other people have noticed it too. I mentioned kind of just like, it's worth cutting that stuff out and seeing if you see a difference, if it's something that bothers you. Obviously, I had a lot of comments from people, love stupid comments, saying, really, you're gonna stop eating sugar because of vanity or something? And I was like, bruh, what does it say about those things that you're putting in your body that they create like that physical response? That's like so obvious to see. It's not just about like being vain about your dark circles. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, pretty much it's come down to that. And also the fact that I've been a bit more chill about what people perceive as imperfections, which I love the way you worded that, very diplomatically. I think it comes with getting older. I've become much more comfortable with myself and the way that I look, and with whatever people think are imperfections as I've gotten older. And I think like things like work going well is a little bit of an ego boost. Like I have to say, having 1 million people decide to subscribe to my channel is kind of like a positive thing, right? It's like people essentially saying like, we like what you're doing and we want to see more, right? So that kind of helps because I mean, I come on here with no makeup, hair sticking out in all different directions, crazy dark circles, when I have breakouts, you know, everything. You see, you know I don't use filters. Everything is here, you know, for you to see. So I think that kind of helps. Also, I spent a lot of time thinking of, after my under eye filler debacle, and I'll link videos down below if you don't know what I'm talking about, I really spent a lot of time. Well, after I got my under eye filler dissolved, I realized how much I liked my face the way it was before. And then that made me really think about like what are these things that I'm perceiving as imperfections that I need to change? And then it was also like, there were some things about like people around me or people that I watch on YouTube getting work done. And I always kind of like, again, I always have to preface this with like no shade at all. I'm not going to judge somebody for making that kind of a choice. I think it's 100% their choice and they're also going to make the best choice for them. But I always kind of regret it. I always kind of wish that they didn't do it because I loved their face before. So when I think about those things, if I think about like Botox or filler or like, I don't know, whatever, well, I guess I would never really even consider anything else, but I always just try to like remove myself from it and be like, what would people think? Like, I know like if I got, you know, huge balloon lips, I have full lips, man. I can overline them a little bit and put on a poppin' gloss and look at that shit, man. Look at those. I think they look juicy as fuck. I don't need lip filler, which was something I considered like years ago. So I think just thinking about it a lot, and also just kind of like seeing other people do it and seeing them all end up looking exactly the same. I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to look like me, you know? I guess there's an argument to be made that depending on how I'm doing my makeup, kind of manipulate my looks to look like other people. But you can wash that off at the end of the day, you know? And you can do it different every single time. So I don't know. These are gonna be short questions, long responses. Can you tell us the story of how you got your cats? Sure. So Ziva is my cat. I'll pop a photo if you haven't seen her. I don't know where she is. She was being so disruptive and now she's quiet, so let's not wake her up. I got Ziva maybe like a year into living in LA when I was living with my brother. And we were living out in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, if you guys know that. There's so many strays out there, it's depressing. There's also a lot of shelters. So we went to a shelter that was like nearby and I just kind of like walked around. We were like checking out cats, you know, I really wanted one. She was tiny and she was playful. Like I put my hands in, they have them in these like little cages and I put my hands near the cage and she was just like jumping at it and stuff, like she was hunting. I've never really had a cat that did that. So that kind of like intrigued me. She also had these huge eyes and really big ears and I just love that look on cats. She was like a fox. And I picked her up and like held her for a little while and she hated it and she was like crawling all over me and she was like biting on my fingers and I was like, she is a troublemaker and I need her. So I think the donation was, you like pay for them essentially, but it's like a donation to the shelter. It was like $50. We went next door to the vet and she got all her like shots and shit. And they told us that she was 3 months older than they thought she was, which was pretty much why she's been a wild animal for such a long time. She was a lot older than we thought. Yeah, and I got her with Guyan, my brother. If you guys don't know him, I'll link his channel down below. He's also a YouTuber and he's fucking hilarious. Yeah, that, not super exciting, that one. I just like, I was desperate for a cat. I always grew up with cats and I was like, I cannot live without a cat. And I lived here for like essentially a year without a cat. And I was like, I can't do this shit. So she's lived in like a few different apartments with me. And then our other cat, Boo, the tortoiseshell, was my boyfriend's cat. He had 2 cats, beautiful cat, beautiful little cat named Jay. He was probably the most beautiful cat I've ever seen. Literally looked like a cartoon, but he passed away. And yeah, so that was his cat. I think he just like adopted them however many years before we met. I don't know, maybe like 3 years or something. So he had them for a little while. And they're both females, so there's some contention here. Boo runs the household essentially. And they don't love each other, but they'll play sometimes, and sometimes they get aggressive. So yeah, they're good, they're good. But yeah, Boo is very territorial. My top skincare tips that have helped me the most is going to a dermatologist, and that is it, number 1, 100%. I cannot tell you enough the amount that I was doing wrong just watching other YouTubers and trying to figure it out on my own. Man, the amount of money that I spent thinking like, oh, these things are really good for me. And then being like, wait, why am I breaking out like fucking crazy? Go to a dermatologist, okay? Do it, please. Yeah, you guys, a lot of people want to hear like a lot more personal things, which I totally understand because I'm so nosy. But family life, I've said before, like my parents are artists. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire. I hated living there every second. Essentially, I needed to be out of there. I needed to be in a city. That's pretty much like how I was my whole life. I thought I was gonna be New York. I moved out here with my brother, who was pursuing acting. And yeah, we lived together for like the majority of the time that we were out here. And then I moved in with my boyfriend like 2.5 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago or so. Maybe a little more than that now, going on 3. I don't really talk about my boyfriend. I know people ask. I can tell you this, his name is Tim. He's very tall. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep most of that stuff like pretty private because I don't like sharing. I'm not trying to like do daily vlogs and shit. I don't need everybody to know everything about my life. He's never gonna be in a video with me probably. I kind of like keeping him separate. I do videos with my brother because he's a public figure. You know what I mean? He's already on the internet. I don't think I would ever have my parents in videos. I'm probably not gonna ever go into detail on that kind of stuff. So for me, with me, I'll like pretty much tell you everything unless like, I don't want to, and then I won't tell you. Yeah, but I understand the curiosity. How do you stay so chill and unproblematic in a YouTube niche that is so infested with unnecessary petty drama? I just think I've talked about this like a few times. I think it's just like, it's just the fact that like the loudest voices in this space happen to be the most popular. And the reason for that is because number 1, their audiences are a lot younger. No shade, but like I loved the drama bullshit when I was in middle school too. But then you grow up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's also, that's like, those are the people that like blow up the fastest because they're like, you know, it's the drama, it's the celebrities who like get their asses out or whatever. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but you know what I mean. Like you don't really hear that much about like celebrities who are just like, you know, or like, for instance, actors who like are in movies who are like relatively famous, but then they're not out in like the Hollywood scene. They just like go home to like their families and just like make dinner or whatever the fuck, you know? So it's kind of like that. Like I'm not talking about all the shit that's going on in my life. I'm not like trying to start drama with other YouTubers. There are plenty of us in the beauty community who are like this. We're just not loud, so you're just not seeing us as much. But I would say there's way more of us than the other ones. They just get the most attention, you know? As far as being unproblematic and chill, depending on who you ask, man. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, people think I'm a problem, but there's a small group of people who think I'm a problem for sure. It all comes down to like, I do the things that I want to do. I talk about makeup and that's it. You know, sometimes I dip into other topics, usually surrounding like how we treat each other on social media and what it does to us, which I think is really important. I'm not really interested in any of the petty shit. So, you know, I'll watch it from afar. I'm usually like, Eventually I become aware of it, but I'm never going to be involved. I'm really going to try not to be involved, at least. Oh, somebody asked how old the cats are. I think Ziva at this point, how long have I lived here? She's like going on 7, I think. And Boo, I think, is probably like 8 or 9 going on that. I don't know. I'm just like guessing. I'm really bad with timelines. Oh, when people ask me about makeup trends, I'm always like, wrong person, man. I have no idea what's going to be in. I think makeup trends are really fun a lot of the time. So what's like a fun one that I've been thinking about recently? Oh, the like Euphoria, like made like rhinestones, such a huge trend. Fucking love that. Hope it never goes away, you know? Like they're super fun, but I also think that like they're kind of dumb. They just kind of like pop up and it's like, this is popular. And then, you know, people feel pressured to do it even though it doesn't look necessarily good on them or they don't like it. And so that's kind of stupid. So like trends, I don't think about them at all. If they pop up and I like it, I might partake. If they pop up and I don't like them, I'm not gonna partake. Have you ever thought about having a little shop and selling your art? I have considered that, but with the amount of time that goes into this job, I don't know how I would be, like, I guess I could sell prints of things, but I'm also so rusty and I haven't gotten to a point where I'm, like I painted a little leaf the other day with watercolor because I think I've said this a million times, I'm like new to watercolor still. Like it's been 2 years probably and I'm still new to watercolor. I don't understand it. I'm like really trying to figure it out because I painted with oils forever. But just like the fumes and stuff, it's not great. And I guess I could paint on the balcony, but that's just a lot. I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out watercolor, but I don't really like it that much. So yeah, I would have to get to a point where I'm like happy with what I'm producing before I like decided to sell it to people. So I don't know, maybe at some point. How familiar are you with the Real Techniques brushes and would you recommend them? To be completely honest, it's been a very long time, but like since I've used them, which is very surprising, but I used to use their little like highlighter brush. It's a great brush, perfect. Like it's just such a versatile size. You can use it for pretty much anything. Like honestly, in my opinion, contour, bronzer, highlight, blush, concealer, like you can use it for any of those, setting, any of those things, depending on like how much precision you want. That one I really like. None of the other ones really like leap to my mind, and it has been a really long time. So if they haven't made any like huge changes to the quality, then yeah, I would definitely recommend them, or at least that brush. Is there anything you want to do but are really scared of trying? Yes, but I'm not going to share it. Do you ever get days where everything goes wrong makeup-wise? Of course. May not happen to you though. Of course it does. And how do you deal with this? I feel bad about myself. I don't deserve to be in this profession. Yeah, no, all the fucking time, of course. Gabby and I, if you guys remember Gabby, she did my makeup like a few videos ago or whatever. We did a get ready with me. I don't know when that's going up. It's gonna be it's long, so like it's gonna take me a while to edit. But we did a get ready with me and like literally everything was going wrong. Like we were struggling. And I feel like at the end, like the end result was really good, but we were really struggling. Me way more than her. I think she was just saying it to make me feel better, but all the time that happens. I try to just like, it depends. Like sometimes if something's going really, really wrong, I'll remove it and start over. Sometimes I just try to like struggle bus right through it, you know? And then if I get to the end result and I'm like, this is not my best work, most of the time people around me, they don't recognize that. You're being really hard on yourself, you know? I'm my own worst critic, especially when it comes to makeup. Most people would be like, oh my God, I love your makeup. And I'm like, it's so bad today, you know? So yeah, I think just like dealing with it. If you have an opportunity to start it over, then like do, or you can. But like, if you don't, and you just kind of like push through it and finish it, and you still like don't love it, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna wash it off at the end of the day, and you got a clean slate tomorrow. Would you be open to doing makeup on others? This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I have friends who I really want to, like I want to do their makeup, but I don't know if they would be down. Like I don't know if they would be comfortable, and I'm sure if I ask them, I don't want them to feel pressured, you know? But yeah, I've been thinking about it. I've also thought about like maybe getting some models on. I feel like I just want like friends. I want to get friends on. So I don't know. We'll see. Oh, interesting. Do you ever miss having a job that has structure put in place by someone else? I feel like it would be so hard to keep myself accountable. So it's not that I have a hard time keeping myself accountable. I'm actually pretty good. I'm pretty like schedule oriented, and I like having like certain regimented things. What I miss, to be completely honest with you, is working with other people. And I know that from this perspective, I miss that. When I was in it, when I was working with other people, I hated it. Not when I was working with people that I loved. Like I had a job in my hometown where I was working with two of my best friends, and that was like the best. But the job, I mean, like we were driving ourselves crazy. It was like a full-time job. We were working overtime. You had to deal with like stupid petty office bullshit, you know? I've worked in 2 offices and I didn't last longer than 10 months in each of them. So it's definitely not like an environment that motivates me or keeps me inspired. But I definitely do miss like working with other people because this is just so fucking like lonely. Like it's just me by myself talking to myself and then editing by myself. Like it's, you know, it gets to be a lot. It gets to be very like monotonous, and that's, you know, that ends up draining creativity too. So not for the structure, but for the social aspect, I think. Yeah, I do kind of miss that aspect of it. But like I said, my parents are artists. They worked from home. So like, that's what I was used to. I wasn't used to seeing, I wasn't used to like going into an office to visit my parents and seeing that. So that was never a question. I always thought that I would be like working from home. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how the makeup industry will change to support sustainability and environmental stewardship, from raw material sourcing to manufacturing to shipping and packaging. What do you think are the trends, and where do you think will be in the I'm talking so fast, in the coming years? I definitely think that we've seen such a push towards sustainability with I feel like mostly packaging, raw material sourcing. I feel like I haven't heard as much about, but hopefully, you know, in general, we're moving in that direction. I think like shipping and packaging is kind of like the focus right now. And I think we do have to be like a little bit, like we just have to be a little bit realistic that like it's gonna take a minute for everything to like evolve. But I think it is. Like I really think that everything is like moving in that direction, which is really nice. And I totally support it, because one of the things, do you guys remember, okay, if you know Samantha Rovendal, when she like decided to stop getting PR, I don't even know if she like decided to get PR again. The amount of waste that I create just by receiving PR is unbelievable. So when I'm opening things and it's recyclable or biodegradable or whatever, it's like just a huge fucking weight off my shoulders, you know? It's like it makes you feel so much better. So as a consumer, I feel like that's really important. That's something that like people have really been pushing for. And I think that like the more we pressure companies into this stuff, they're just gonna, it's like the shade ranges, man. When Rihanna launched Fenty and she came out with 40 foundation shades, and then there were other brands who were just like, no, we're gonna do the same 10 light colors. Everybody was like, no. Like the game has changed and you have to adapt. So I do think that there are gonna be brands that aren't adapting, and I think they're gonna fall off, man. And they're gonna be forced to adjust. So I do hope that happens, because there's definitely been a push towards that stuff, and it's only good. I'm a fan. I support it, and I'm hoping that we can get there sooner. But we also have to keep in mind that like it's probably gonna take some time. Shit's gonna get more expensive and all of that kind of stuff, you know? I don't watch anime, no. Sorry. I've heard there are some good ones out there, like I've heard of them, but it's just like, I don't know, I haven't, it hasn't really interested me, so I haven't really like delved in. My nails are a little bit different than they used to be. I used to get like gel polish. These are just like acrylics, like extensions, because my natural nails, they're just so much work to get even a little bit of length, like just past my fingertip. So I usually get the extensions, and then I used to get Love is in the Bear by OPI, which I believe is only a gel color. And people loved that. And then I just recently started getting just regular polish on the extensions. And this is Mademoiselle by Essie. But I stopped getting gel because it's aging my hands. Bro, those UV lights, okay? I've been getting gel nails for like 10 years, and I am over it. So we can talk about that a little bit in a future video, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I love a nude, just like a simple nude nail. And then I also get, this is like a short almond shape, I guess you could call it. What mediums have you used with your art before? So I love and I'm very good with pencils. So any kind of pencil, charcoal, pencil, pastels, any of that stuff. I've used everything. I love sculpting, but I haven't done it enough. Like I actually have a bunch of shit that I should use. Like it's over in this drawer. I really want to use it, but it's messy. But yeah, oil paint, acrylic, which I hate. I guess if you get really good at, I've never had really good acrylics. All the mediums. What are your least favorite parts of having a YouTube channel? Probably just like shitty comments. That's it. Just like shittiness. And also when videos don't do well, especially when I like really, cause like it doesn't, YouTube, well, for me at least, I've said this before, doesn't really reward creative content. They reward the stuff that's like quick, easy, short, simple, boring. Sorry. I know a lot of people enjoy that stuff, but from my perspective, like creating it, that's kind of how it like ends up being. If I put like a lot of work into a video and it's super creative, YouTube for me doesn't reward me. It doesn't push it. People aren't as interested. My audience, I guess, isn't as interested. So it just doesn't do as well. And that's really depressing. So those two things, I guess. 1,000? Shut the fuck up. Have you really been subscribed since I had 1,000 subscribers? That's fucking crazy. You should be sitting right here with me right now answering these questions. There's so many questions about like mental health and also like creativity. Like how do you continue your creativity? Oh, those things are struggling right now, bro. They're struggling. This is interesting. Kind of a weird question, but I sort of compare you and your brother to Billie Eilish and Phineas Eilish in the sense that you two are wildly creative and yet down to earth. My question is what did your parents do or say that allowed and encouraged you two to discover your true individual creative sparks and stick with it? Or are you two basic? Well, definitely not geniuses, but I appreciate that. Well, like I said before, both of my parents are artists. They both worked for themselves. So that aspect of it was just kind of like ingrained, I think. And they were always like, they're creative people, so they were always supportive of any of the creative things that we were interested in. They also knew, like us growing up, they could see that we had talent in certain areas and they wanted to foster that kind of thing. So yeah, they were always super supportive when it came to creative stuff. Don't get me wrong, when like we wanted to move out to LA, they were super supportive, super worried, but the fact that we were coming out here together, like they definitely have always supported us in our creative endeavors. Worried a lot, which makes sense, you know, because it's tough and they definitely had a reason to. And it's been tough, but yeah, I mean, they were just always super supportive about that stuff. So yeah, that's interesting. I watched that. I watched an interview with Billie Eilish's mom that was very interesting, where she was kind of just talking about like raising her kids. We were definitely raised differently, but I heard a lot of similarities in terms of like how close they were as a family. So I think that just like closeness and support in general was just like, it was just like very helpful in not just like their support in terms of like whatever we were pursuing creatively, but also our confidence in whatever we were pursuing creatively. You know what I mean? This person says I subbed at first because I liked your face. Okay, this is the last one that I'm gonna do because my battery's gonna die, but this person said, my cheekbones aren't even, neither are my eyes. Should I apply blush, eyeshadow, brows, etc. as if my eyes and cheeks are symmetrical, or apply individually? One cheekbone is higher and more forward than the other. My eyes are the same, thank you. So, you definitely don't want to treat them as if they're individual completely, because it's just gonna look very off. But if you just kind of like do them the same, it can end up looking a little bit wonky too. So what you want to do, I've said this before, if you have an eyebrow, we'll use eyebrows first. If you have an eyebrow that is slightly, like you can see this eyebrow is slightly higher than this one. When I fill my brows, I try to fill a little bit above this one and a little bit below this one, which obviously if you look at them, they're not perfect, right? But if I didn't have them filled right now and I did them just like individually, this one would look it would look significantly more high, and this one would look a little bit lower, right? So you can only do so much to kind of balance those things out, and that's how I would do it. Make sure you're looking at your face as a whole. Same thing with your eyes, like nobody's eyes are even. I have a little bit more room over here than over here. You can see more of my lid over here. So when I'm applying my like crease color, I'm kind of like trying to bring it down a little bit lower, or I can't remember what I even do now, but I just know that I go back and forth to be like, okay, how can I like even these things out, you know? I guess I don't really think about my cheekbones that much, but it's exactly the same thing. Just like if you have a higher cheekbone, then like bring it down a little bit. And then if you have a lower cheekbone, bring it up a little bit. Like if you're drawing your contour, bring it up slightly and then down slightly, which is just going to like very slightly even out those features. But if you do it too much, then it's gonna look crazy, right? It's gonna be so obvious. One thing that I do for like my jawline is, let me see, I don't even know if you could really see it now that I've already, okay, so this side of my jaw is a little bit more like straight. So when I make that double chin, you can kind of see that like line is a little bit more straight than this side. This side, it kind of goes like it scoops under a little bit and then it reaches my chin, which I don't like. So when I contour this area, I usually bring that like dark contour up here a little bit more than over here, because this side just doesn't need it as much. But if I did it to the point where like this area was so dark, you know, because I'm really trying to push that area back and I didn't do it to this side at all, it would be very obvious and it would look super weird. So you're trying to find balance, realistic balance, I think. I hope that helped. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. That's it. That's all I can do. My nose has been very runny. Thanks again for all your questions and also for subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, then I don't thank you. But like, thanks for watching, I guess. I'll do these more because actually I might just do a part 2 because to be completely honest, let's see. There's like 400 comments here and I definitely didn't get through that many. So we could do a part 2. I can scroll all the way to the bottom and do that. Yeah, thanks guys. I'm gonna go. I'll see you soon. Bye. Let's get to 10 million. That's never gonna happen.